Are you thinking about buying a brand new house, but everything seems overwhelming, maybe too good to be true, and you're wondering what the builder is just not telling you? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what to look out for, what the builder's not telling you, how to protect yourself the best way possible, and when to actually strike to get the best deal. My name is Dawson Brewer, and I help countless of people reaching out to me looking to relocate to my beautiful city of Austin, Texas. And in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through 4 important things to consider before buying a new construction house. We're gonna talk about how builder money works, the stuff that builders won't tell you but you really need to hear, how to protect yourself with inspections, warranties, and contracts, and when and how to time your purchase to get the best deal. So if you're thinking about moving to my city of Austin, Texas, I invite you to please reach out to me. There is a QR code that I'm gonna leave on the screen. Go ahead and scan that, and that way we can schedule a one-on-one talk, and that way I can understand your real estate goals. Also, feel free to text me, call me, or simply send me an email. I'm available to you 24/7. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, for this first section, we're gonna talk about the money aspect. Now, when you walk into a new construction office, you gotta have this mindset that the builder is a for-profit business. What that means is that they are not selling homes to you out the goodness of their heart. They are looking to make a profit. And it's not only a profit, it's a pretty profit, okay? Once you understand this simple mindset, this entire process will look completely different. It will be more black and white. At least that's how I look at it now. I understand it's an emotional decision, and it's a huge decision that you have to make. Believe me, I know that. But you just have to understand what their perception is. I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm not saying that you're gonna get a bad deal or anything like that. I'm not even saying not to buy these deals. I'm just saying at the end of the day, buying a new construction house, this is a for-profit business. So anytime you see price reductions, crazy incentives, rate buy downs, upgrades included in a house, these are all specifically, it's all for a reason, okay? It's for profit, okay? The builder is making money on these different items, okay? So that's just the mindset you gotta have. You gotta understand that. It's very simple, but a lot of people seem to miss that. Now, my other thing is, once you walk inside that model home, it's going to look absolutely amazing. It's gonna blow your socks off. The reason why model homes are usually that builder's best seller is because they put all the upgrades possible inside that model home to get you excited, to get you feeling good, to get you wanting that specific house. That's the psychology behind it. That model home that you're walking through easily could have $50,000 to $100,000 worth of upgrades. I'm talking landscaping package, kitchen package, floor package, wall package. You might even have tray ceiling, and inside this floor plan, you usually don't get that tray ceilings. You might have a cathedral ceiling in the floor plan, and you might not usually get the cathedral ceiling on. It's a lot of psychology in it. It's a lot of upgrades in it. That's why the model home is always gonna sell for more than what that floor plan will sell for in that neighborhood. But you just have to think at the end of the day that model home is going to have all the bells and whistles. So don't get lost in the sauce. You got to look through it. I usually like going to model homes to simply help me understand what the furniture layout is going to be in that house, and to also give me ideas on how to stage my own houses. So don't go in a model home all wide-eyed being sold all these trinkets and fancy items and things like that. You don't need most of it. To be honest, most of it is very expensive. You could probably get a better deal if you just had your own vendor go out there and do it versus the builder having to do it, but that's another conversation for another day. Don't let the model home trick you. Then finally, on the money subject, I want you guys to understand this. There's 2 pools of money when buying a house. In your first pool, you have your incentives. So you'll see incentives like builders covering $10,000 worth of your closing costs, builders buying your rate down to 5%, builders paying for this, builders paying for that, builders giving you a $10,000 upgrade package, builders doing, I don't know, they're gonna pay for your HOA, whatever. All the incentives are one pool of money. The other pool of money that builders are not gonna tell you, of course, First is the realtor commissions. The reason why I say this is because I have a lot of people telling me, what's the point of bringing a realtor to the table if they're not gonna do anything, collect the easy paycheck, and the builder could just go ahead and use that commission to pay me on a deal, or to put it towards a house, or to reduce the house price, or whatever. Here's the truth of the matter. Most reputable builders, right, because there are some bad players out here, most reputable builders keep these two pools separate, whether or not you have a realtor. I even have builders specifically saying that they actually really push unrepresented people to having a realtor in their corner. Why? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have a realtor, that money, that realtor pool of money, nothing happens to it. The builder makes more, which is good, right? But nothing happens to it. You cannot take from this realtor pool of money to add to this pool of money. Builders will not allow that. Like I said, there's some bad players out here who will. There's some builders who will say, look, if you don't have a realtor, we can do X, Y, Z. The reason why they're telling you that is because that agent is gonna make a little bit higher of a commission without you bringing a realtor to the table. Like I said, there might be one or two builders that I know of from the top of my head that does that, and I'm not gonna mention it, but most builders, they do not do that. They do not cross breed, or they do not mix different pools of money, okay? Two separate pools of money. Now that you understand how the money works, here are some important things that they won't volunteer to tell you, but you should probably ask them about. One of those things is you have to use their lender to get their incentives. Here's an interesting thing. You often have to use a builder's lender and title company to unlock all of their incentives. Now, otherwise, in a normal resale type of transaction, title company is negotiable, okay? It could either be a buyer or seller. Now, if a seller's selling their house and they already opened up title with a title company, they prefer to close here over there, they could strongly encourage you, the buyer, to go with that title company. And if the seller is paying for those closing costs or title policy, it does make sense to have that person who's paying for those items to use their people, right? On the new construction side, most builders are gonna be paying for your closing costs, including title policy. So again, it makes sense to go with their people, but at the end of the day, you are required to use their people to gain their incentives. And that is especially true for lenders. If you want that 4.5% interest rate that they're offering, you're gonna have to go with their lender. Why is it like that? Builders will pay millions of dollars up front to buy the rate down, and it's like a massive buy down. Let's say interest rates right now are between 6 to 7%. They're offering 4.5% interest rate on these homes that they have for sale in this neighborhood. Now, let's say after 10 houses that they sell, or they have 10 houses left on this deal before they have to do another rate buy down, or before they run out of that 4.5% rate, well, then the builder has to go ahead and pay a lot more money again to buy the rate down, which is why, again, you have to use the lenders to get that special interest rate. And if you do bring your own lender, they're not going to be able to bring that rate down to 4.5%. So the builders are wanting to use their own people. So if you want their incentives, you're going to have to use the builder's lender. Can that be a good thing? Bad thing? I mean, I'll leave that up to you to decide. I mean, they got to follow their own lending laws, whether or not they're working for the builder or working against the builder. But I'll leave it up to you to decide if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Another important aspect is deals can change weekly. A lot of new construction agents that I talk to, they don't know what next week deal is going to look like. They don't know what the incentives are going to look like. They usually know every single builder is different. Some are notified at the beginning of the week on Sundays or Mondays. Others are notified at the end of the week on Fridays. I even have one that gets notified in the middle of the week, which is kind of weird. But deals will change on a weekly basis. So if you walk inside of a new build and you like everything that you see, but you decide to wait just 1 week to make your decision, back then they were offering $15,000 in closing cost assistance at a 5% rate. This week they now pulled that back to about $7,000 in closing cost assistance, and they hiked that rate up to 6%. Well, you can't do anything about it, which leads me to my next point. Once you sign that contract to buy a house, you are locked into that deal and you are locked into those incentives. So again, using that same example, if you did in fact make that decision to lock in that, well, you know what, they're gonna pay $15,000 towards my closing costs at a 4.5% rate. I am happy with that. Next week, they offer $20,000 in closing cost assistance and they bring that rate down to 4%. Well, you are not gonna get that new deal. You are locked into your deal. That's just the way it is. It could hurt. It's a double-edged sword because in that example, yes, that new incentive at $20,000 at 4% interest, that's a better deal. But what if they did the complete opposite and instead of the 15 or 20,000 or whatever, they're doing 10,000 and that interest rate is about 6%. So it could help you, it could hurt you. Just understand as soon as you sign that document, you are locked in, okay? I know I didn't really cover what you should be asking per se. These are more just things and mindsets to keep in the back of your head, to arm yourself with some knowledge and some information when you go into these offices, because they're expecting you to not really know anything. I'm not saying they're gonna take advantage of you. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that you wanna be armed with as much information as possible. That's all. So I got 2 more sections with a couple different items left for y'all. And I just wanna cut to this real quick. If y'all are looking to relocate or buy a new construction house in the Austin market, I want to invite you again to reach out to me and the team. We specialize in new construction in this city. Simply scan that QR code to schedule a one-on-one conversation with me. And what I want to do is understand where you're at in your home buying journey, whether you are 3 days out or whether you are 3 years out. I really don't care. All right. I just want to understand your home buying journey, and that way I can put you on the best roadmap, and that way we can end up putting keys in your hands. So please, the best way to reach me is scanning that QR code that's on the screen. I will also leave a link to my calendar down below in the description, and I'll also pin the top comment with that link. And if you guys don't want to hit that link, simply call me, text me, email me. I have people reaching out all the time, so I invite you to also reach out if you are looking to move in the Austin Metro. All right, so we have 2 more sections. In this section, this is going to be about how to protect yourself. So protecting yourself in terms of contracts, in terms of knowing what to look out for, and just understanding what tools you have at your disposal. Because the last thing you want to do is buying a lemon in the car world. Buying a lemon would be like buying a car with a blown up engine, or having some issues with the car that you don't know about that's just gonna break a week after you drive it off the lot. You don't want to buy a lemon. You don't want to buy a house that's gonna have a whole bunch of issues, and then you look back on that and you get pissed off at yourself, you get pissed off at me because we didn't do something to protect you in the process, somewhere in the process, you know? So I want you to understand how to protect yourself best, okay? So here it is. My first point in this section is this, which is like point number 7 of the video, by the way, if anybody's been counting. Do not fall for not bringing a realtor or not using a realtor for your transaction. I could admire the confidence that people have nowadays of being so DIY to save money, to have that boost, that self-confidence boost of, hey, I was able to do this myself. I understand it, but if we're talking about your biggest financial asset that you will ever purchase in your life, bring a specialist with you. I mean, even if it's not me, I highly encourage you to bring a licensed professional with you to at least guide you and protect you on the way. Because again, remember what I mentioned in the first section towards the beginning of the video, that our commissions is in a completely separate pool of money. You're not paying for it, the builder's paying for it. You're not gonna get a better deal without bringing a realtor along, so you might as well just bring one along, all right? And don't bring your cousin's best friend's girlfriend's puppy because she has her license. You have to bring somebody who knows what they're doing, right? I do this every single day. I specialize in new construction. Okay, I have so many relationships with these agents. I know what I'm doing. I know what questions to ask if I don't know the answer, and I know how to find the answer if I don't know what questions to ask. And I just try to make myself sound smart. Anyways, bring us to the table. It's only going to help you. Most of the time, I'm just in the background because the agent, all the contracts are new construction contracts. They're gonna have their own contracts, right? So you have to sign the contracts in order to get the deal. And the agent, the new construction agent, is going to explain all that to you, all right? They're gonna explain the warranties to you. They're gonna sell you on the house. They're gonna tell you about the features. They're gonna tell you about the upgrades. They're gonna tell you about the neighborhood. I'm mainly just in the background, but I'm listening, right? I'm more so listening, and I'm asking questions when my buyers don't know what to ask, or when my buyers don't ask the questions. I'm asking questions on their behalf. I might already know the answers. I'm just asking asking the questions out loud, and that way they have their questions answered. And they don't even know if they even had the question or not. My 8th item on this list, and we haven't been counting, but my 8th item or piece of advice for you is to use your own inspector. Now, a lot of new construction builders will say that you do not need to bring an inspector by because they already had their inspectors done, walk through the property. They already had the proper coding and proper permits done. Look, scratch all that. F all that, okay? I don't care. Bring your own inspector, hire your own inspector. It would be crazy for you to buy a house on the word of the person that's trying to sell you a house, that's in the business to make money, try to tell you to not use an inspector to find out if there's anything wrong with the house. And guess what? Inspectors' jobs is to find something wrong with the house, and I guarantee you, I will gamble my life savings away if I'm wrong. But I guarantee you the inspector will find something wrong with the house. That's just their job, okay? Hire your inspectors. It doesn't cost a lot of money, $400 or $500 if that. The inspector will inspect the house. Usually it takes place right before the blue tape walkthrough is when the new construction company will want the inspector to inspect the house, and they would want a copy of that report before the blue tape walkthrough. And that way, during the blue tape walkthrough, they already have those items addressed, okay? So hire an inspector. A new construction company will tell you you don't need to hire an inspector. I'm telling you, you need to hire an inspector. Just do it. And finally, understand the 1-2-10 warranty. The 1-2-10 warranty is going to further protect you if anything were to fail in the house. So that first year is cosmetics, 2 is your systems. So that includes HVAC, plumbing, electrical. The 10 stands for structural, so roof and foundation. Now, when I say understand the 1-2-10 warranty, I simply mean to not take it as face value as, okay, I have a 1-2-10 warranty. I can do whatever I want. Or if the foundation breaks or I need foundation repairs by year 8, I could go ahead, it's covered under warranty. Hold on, hold your horses, because if you were to read the fine print, it will tell you exactly what's covered under warranty, what's not covered under warranty. Last but definitely not least, timing can make or break your deal. Builders don't always advertise this, so understanding this is going to be vital to getting a really good deal or getting a really bad deal. So my last point, or my last piece of advice of what builders don't tell you or what buyers should know about, I haven't came up with a title of this video yet, okay? But the last thing that you should know is the 60 days on market rule. This is not a general rule of thumb. This is something that I noticed, at least as a pattern. And what I noticed is that around 60 days on market, builders will start to get a little bit more desperate. If a house is sitting on the market for 60 days, they'll get a little bit more desperate in terms of incentives. They're gonna start pushing out some heavy incentives. And I'll give you an example. There's a builder that I'm not gonna name that usually once they hit that 60 days on market, instead of covering 7% of closing costs, that ups to 10% of closing costs. Then they start trying to buy that rate down just a little bit more. If they're offering 4.5 on most of their houses, they're gonna try to offload that house at 4.25. Then they're gonna start dropping the price as well. While you're looking at 450 for this price, so now you're looking at 425, 10% concessions, 4.25% interest rate, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, I want you to go ahead and think about the first couple points that I mentioned. It's a for-profit business. The longer a house sits on the market, the more expensive it is for the builder because of holding costs. So the longer a house sits on the market, the less money a builder makes. So around that 60-day mark is safe to assume that the builder is going to be a little bit more desperate to move that house. So that's when you can start negotiating with them, asking for price reductions, asking for more money at the closing table to get that rate brought down a little bit more, asking for upgrades, asking for appliances. The worst a builder can tell you is get out my face. If you made it to the end of the video, I hope that you are now more knowledgeable in how to buy a new construction house, because a lot of people will go at this without understanding any of these things, and you just want to make sure that you protect yourself, right? And by you watching this video to the very end, you are already a step closer to buying that dream house and to getting a really good deal. To get you another step closer, I encourage you again to reach out to me and the team. Y'all already know Link is down below in the description and in the comments. Please reach out. I have people reaching out to me daily. Please reach out to me. I love to answer all your questions and comments, and also love to answer the DMs that comes in too. So again, thank you for watching. This is In Austin with Dawson. I am Dawson and I am out. See you in the next one. Peace.